This is the most devoted girl in the world. She made a promise with the person she loved she would wait for him under the maple tree for her entire life. But time passed, and no matter how long she waited, the person she loved never returned to her side. Others thought her waiting was destined to be in vain. They believed that the man was simply toying with her feelings. But when Koyo suddenly turned around, she realized that the person she loved had already fulfilled their promise in his own way. Koyo was a spirit born under the maple tree, bound to it. Because the tree had a spirit, the maple tree's leaves were red throughout the year. One day, Jinsen and Koina happened to pass by, and they were both fascinated by this unusual sight. After all, seeing a tree like this, blooming so beautifully in such a cold season, was rare. Koina thought that there must be something hidden under the tree, otherwise, why would a tree bloom out of season? Koyo came over to explain that the maple tree had red leaves all year round, and that had nothing to do with anything else. When Jinsen saw Koyo for the first time, he immediately realized she was not an ordinary human. He was curious about her purpose for being here, but Koyo simply explained that she was waiting for someone she had promised to meet under the tree. But that person never came. Koyo felt that her waiting was useless. Deep inside, she knew the person she waited for would never return, but she refused to accept this reality. So, she kept waiting, hoping he would come back. She had waited under this tree for years, unable to leave because she was bound to it. She asked Jinsen for help, hoping he could find the man and bring him back for one last meeting, so she could finally let go. Jinsen didn't want to get involved at first, but he felt sorry for Koyo. He couldn't leave her in this state, so he promised to help her find the man. But when Jinsen asked about the man's appearance, Koyo became nervous. She had waited for so long that she couldn't remember what he looked like anymore. Fortunately, she had a portrait of him that she could show Jinsen. Before setting off, Jinsen realized he hadn't asked for Koyo's name. Koyo turned around and told him her name was Red Maple Leaf, referencing the red maple tree she was tied to. Since this happened in the mountains, she said the mountain god must know more about it. Jinsen and Koina went to find the mountain god, Tengu, hoping he could tell them the man's whereabouts. After Jinsen paid the Tengu a satisfactory reward, they learned the truth they didn't want to hear. The man Koyo waited for had died many years ago. Her waiting had been in vain, though she didn't know it. Now, Koyo only wanted to wait for the man to return. This obsession broke the boundaries between life and death. After her death, she didn't reincarnate like others. Instead, she became a bound spirit, waiting under the maple tree. Her mind was filled with images of the man telling her he would call her name first when he returned. She thought she was happy, but she was also angry with him. After all, she had waited for so long, yet he still hadn't shown up. Jinsen felt that if he could help Koyo ascend to the next world, at least it would be a good deed. But Tengu tried many methods that didn't work. Jinsen eventually had to tell Koyo the truth. He explained everything to her, and though she had already suspected, hearing the truth still broke her. She cried uncontrollably as she stood there. She thought she could let go, but Koyo's tears spoke volumes. She still couldn't forget the man. Uncle Tanuki, hearing her, was deeply moved by her cries. He couldn't stand to see Koyo in so much pain, so he decided to help her summon the man's spirit. Although interfering with the world of the dead was forbidden, he couldn't just stand by while Koyo cried. To grant her wish of seeing the man one last time, they made a connection with the workers in the afterlife. However, things didn't go as smoothly as they had hoped. Jinsen brought Koyo some bad news. The man couldn't be summoned because he had already reincarnated according to his will. Unlike Koyo, he hadn't waited for her in another place. But Jinsen also had good news. From now on, Koyo wouldn't have to wait anymore. Koyo didn't understand how that could be good news. Jinsen explained that the man had actually already come a long time ago. Koyo stood frozen in shock as Jinsen continued, telling her that before reincarnating, the man had inexplicably chosen to transform into